Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. This is Radio Mahoditsane. Today we have Guma Moyo and Sennye Obuseng to come and deliberate on the NDP12. And we've had technical challenges. The introduction has been cut out. Please bear with us for that mistake. And we just start off by listening to Sennye Obuseng. Thank you for listening.
Ebile ke a belaela ha o ka adjusta for inflation o ka re di gologole gongwe hela ke ne ka ile ba jalo megopolo e teng mo planning ke ya puso ya gompieno ga ra tshwanna go e thobosa re ka tshwaela hela tse e leng gore gongwe di a gakgamatsa ra bona gore ba re ba ya kae go dilo di le pedi tse di tlhalosang NDP12 sa ntlha ke yone theme ya yone ba bua ka go aga a deep economy for sustainable job creation wa utlwa gore maikaelelo ke sa bobedi ke mo ba go bitsang True North yo e le gore o ka gore re batla go aga botswana yo ntseng jang mme ba mo ka jalo from the perspective ya economy le ene True North yo o tsamaelana le yone theme wa utlwa gore ba batla go aga itshwelelo e ntseng jang ba re batla go aga itshwelelo e golang ka lebelo le letona e golang ka lebelo le letona e leng gore e bile mo go yone mongwe le mongwe o tla boa a bereka ga gona yo ka harologana le dikeletso tse ra di eletsa rotlhe potso ya me nna gore a megopolo e tsamaelana le tsone dikeletso tse se nka se bitsang analysis e mo go yone plan e tsamaelana le tsone dikeletso tsenetse nka nankola di le pedi tlhaolela tse nna di ileng tsa ntshwenya ke ne ka re tshwengwa bogolo jang ke dipalo ka gore tsone di bua go le go ntsi mokgwa tsone ga di nnang teng sa ntlha ha ba bua ka ene True North yo ba mmuang yo ba re o batla gore economy mo ngwageng tse 11 go tswa mo go 2025 go ya go tsena ko go 2036 e be mobilize investment e tshwarang $529 billion US dollars madi a tshwanetseng a ba tsena mo ipholelong ye ba ra tshwanetse gore a be le $529 billion go ya go tsena go 2029 ha o dira dipalo e le $529 billion mo ngwageng tse 11 go ra gore on average go tshwanetse ga bo go tsena $48 billion ngwaga le ngwaga mo itsholelong ene jaanong motho o ka botsa gore $48 billion o tsena jang ngwaga le ngwaga mo economing ya $20 billion that's our economy, $20 billion so ke nngwe ya dipalo tse e leng gore di a hatha le go heta because it's patently unrealistic ga ya tshwanela gore nka be e hitile ka di-economist ya batla go tsena gone ha ra be re bona draft plan ya parlamenteng e tshotse $529 billion in investment up to 2036 it's unrealistic e be re ya ko ditirong ha re ya ko ditirong ba re 500,000 jobs in 5 years wa bona gore puso e santse e tshwere ditsholohetso tsa e santse e campaign mme kana ha re bua ka reality re mo ngwageng wa bobedi wa recession dipalo go tswa ko finance tse le tsone re tshwanetseng ra di ela tlhoko di supa di-projection tse di reng from 25 to 2028 re tshwanetse ra tlolela go itshole be go la ka 1.9%. Jaanong ga o ka ke wa heta ditilo itshulelo e sa gole se 500,000 itshulelo e sa gole significantly higher than 6%. E talk about 10% go ya go godimo gore go kgona go ntsha ditiro tse 500,000. So ene tota ya supagala gore a very unrealistic target. E be tsamaelana le ya yone itshulelo e ba e beile ba beile gore mo ngwageng se tlhano ka NDP12 itshulelo e tshwanetse ya go la ka bobelo la 6% on average ngwaga le ngwaga. Ga e nyalane di projection tsa go finance ga e nyalane le tsone yes mo gongwe di projection mo le ke target me target ya re e se kaya nna unrealistic how e tshwantshanya le reality e leng teng gore target e be ile 300% wa di projection tsa go finance ka bo gone mo ba tshwenya ka gore go bata a Herculean shift in the growth trajectory ya economy ga ke dumele gore ya kgona ha pele ga ditema di re kgauthanya our long term growth trajectory nearly around 4%. Gongwe ne re ka re ho re ka tatabela go 6% mme ne go ntse go le bokete ne go le bokete jaanong ke dilo tse di ntshenya re tswa mo dipalong ke tshwengwa gape ke gone go fa nyalaneng ga Ministry of Finance le Planning Commission kana State President ka gore tota ha finance pa ka dipalo tse tang ka tsone ba State President kana Planning Commission bo ba taka se ba tileng ka tsone tsele go ne mo hela go tsitsetsa seemo se se tshwenyang sa an unacceptable degree of discordance within government ya tshwenya ya bohelo eng ka welang ka yone di dintsi tse motho a ka di buang ke molaetsa o re neelang business rothe ra dumalana ke dumalana le puso 100% gore Botswana a hiphelle ditoro tsagwe go re investment e tsene ka bokete ga ke dumalane le 529 billion mo ngwageng tse 11 mme ke dumela gore investment e tshwanetse ya tsena ka bokete mme kana investment ga e tswe mo pusong e tswa from the private sector e tlhoka gore re neele a clear and consistent message o ta dirang gore ba kgatlhegele go tsenya madi mo Botswana ke ra private sector ke ra ba ba mo gae le ba re santse re ba ngoka go tswa go nne mme ga o lebella molaetsa o tswa mo NDP12 go na le tse di tshwenyang sa ntlha hela ga go clear sentle gore government a reng ka kganya procurement e leng gore mo go yone Botswana nkare ka kganya direct appointment as the preferred mode of procurement is bugging the trend. Best practice ga e be direct appointment sebete le bone ba private sector tota direct appointment ga se selo se ba ka dumalanang le sone is a red flag for the private sector sa bobedi se tshwenya mo melaeteng o re neelang private sector ke gore nkare government o na le a very high appetite for business mo e leng gore gone mo NDP12 mo o ta itlhela ile gore re bua ka a national development fund e mangwe a maikaelo a yone e leng gore government ba partnera le foreign investors ga ke itse sa ntlha gore government tsa madi kae mme hela gone private sector ga e batle gore gormenta ba ithunya mo mhameng wa business go heta selekana ka gore gormenta ga tsena automatically gormenta crowds out the private sector gape gormente ga se keletso bontsi ja nako gore a be nna ne referee the regulator kapa ba nna motshameki ka gore gormente ga tsene mo business motho o dirisa power ya gagwe go tshimoletsa di interest tsa gagwe tsa business yana gormente ga tsena mo business e kete wa tsietsega le ko ntle ga mo tota gormente ga na risk capital mo nakong re buang yana o ipega mokgole o montsi o thamile social welfare fund ga re itse re capitalize ya re santse re rana di deficits ebile re planetse di deficits all the way up to 2028 ga ke itse re capitalize ya ga godimo ga social welfare fund a be re tsenya national development fund yone re a go capitalize yang re santse re na le di rana di deficits all the way up to 2028 ebile re na le bothata jo bo tseneletseng ko thutong ko health ko infrastructure yo tse le go di bata madi tota e kete gormente o e tla nna distracted ke tshoga jalo gore NDP12 e tla itshupa a level of distraction from what government should be focusing on e leng gore gongwe ga ena gore ba sente ne nka bua go le go ntse mme kana go mo di discussion ma re ke me ha re kgone go nna mmogo.
Thank you, Sennye. The Gumas, can you comment on that one?
So let us just agree on the medium of communication. It's China or English. But can I just?
No, any language, any where you are comfortable.
Yes, but thank you very much, sir, for inviting me for us to discuss this very, I think, good topic. And then I must profess that I'm not schooled in economics.
Yes, sir.
And then let me borrow from Shakespeare. I'm going to speak with the innocence of a child and the wisdom of the Shakespearean fool, if you have read literature.
No, I have.
Yeah. And then let us be adults and be very realistic. We've gone through the plan, and let me confess, or rather declare my interest. I was acting minister 2008 of finance then when we prepared NDP10. When we were preparing it, there was an economic crisis in the world. So I speak with a little bit of training, having chaired the NDP10.
Yeah.
So but my experience is derived from that. But having then said so, is that I want us to be patriotic and be very realistic with ourselves. I see the document here. I see the plan. It does not speak to the reality on the ground. Meaning, our starting point where I thought Parliament would be doing right now, there should have been a statement and update, a review from the budget to date, on the update us on the state of the economy. As we all see it, government is facing a serious liquidity situation. And that when we bring in a plan of this nature, when the situation on the ground says the opposite, what are we discussing? We don't have money, we are not paying creditors, we are facing a serious liquidity crisis. How do you implement this plan when we are facing a serious liquidity crisis?
Yeah.
In other areas, you have a state of emergency on health, try and deal with a lot of issues. I think we need to be very realistic as a country and as a nation to deal with issues which are facing us now.
Yeah.
And all of us collectively say, if we don't come together and deal with situations as we see, and moving away from the normal routine. Somebody said one thing: the problems of yesteryears cannot be solved by the very same people who created them. It's a saying, but put it aside. All I'm just saying is that there is a plan.
Yeah. And
then I'm talking to our leaders out there in Parliament. What is priority right now? Is this plan talking to any investor who has not been paid, who is facing huge interest, big interest, if one was to borrow from any bank, it's not conducive. The interest rates are high. Can we implement this plan here with all its good ideas, given the current situation? We can analyze it. We can say whatever we want to say. But how realistic is this document that we're debating in Parliament? We need an update as to what are we doing with the current liquidity situation, and bring back the confidence of the investors and the public out there that you can still do business with government.
Yes.
Any attempt to try and come out with the new issues really realistically, when you are so concerned at some point in time, you are worried about paying wages.
Yeah.
And then you are talking about economic growth of about 10% over the planned period, job creation, inclusive development. Those are very good ideas, but let's get down on the ground. What is the investor saying? What is the public saying? You are not talking to the issues on the ground. We are just following a normal governance process, which as a new government, we should move away from what has been done and be realistic about the situation that we find and restructure. What government should be doing right now, and what I'm expecting from Ministry of Finance, is to be talking about restructuring and giving us the confidence that you can still do business with government. And that government is still there, the employees will be paid, your pensions are safe, everything is in order. This is your agency. This is not the problem that you created. This has been a ballast brought forward problem.
Yeah.
You've got a huge deficit, it's still coming. Now to come in with an ambitious talk, which may not be implemented, I think here we are over ambitious.
Yeah.
What we need at this point in time, sir, is to deal with the current situation. That's urgent. We need a proper evaluation and an update from the Ministry of Finance as to where we are and what are we doing to deal with the current liquidity issue.
Yes.
We know what needs to be done. The revenue streams are tripling slowly. You have to restructure your asset base, convert your assets into liquidity, and then be able to plan accordingly. Cut down on your expenditure. It doesn't take you to be a professor to deal with this basic fundamental. That's how government works.
Yeah.
So look, I'm constrained in trying to discuss this document when realistically I'm struggling to say, if I were to get a government purchase order today, will I be paid if I deliver the service?
Yes.
That is the critical thing that Parliament should be debating right now.
Yeah.
And then if I'm a member of Parliament advocating for projects in my area, and I'm told the project it has been put in the budget, the question is that, will it come? So this is what is critical. This is what our leaders should be discussing, reality. They should not detach themselves from us. They should not detach themselves from the reality on the ground.
Yeah.
This is not how you manage an economy. You deal with the situations as they are. Sometimes you don't have to be too concerned about and put yourself under pressure about growth. I can't grow when I still have a huge liability. I need to clear up that and then plan accordingly. How I need to cut down on my huge expenditure because it's unrealistic.
Yeah.
This is what we should be doing now. For us to fool ourselves and make ourselves happy, discuss some nice English, but some are not listening. So I don't know, say I've done a SWOT analysis, I've done everything, but I know I'm fooling myself.
Yeah.
There is a current crisis that we are facing right now. We have a huge liability. We are unable to pay our creditors. We are unable to meet the things that we want to do. Government is finding it difficult to implement the promises it said it will give to the public.
Yeah.
Because of this situation, which is not their fault, mind you. It's an accumulation over time. And procrastination, as Martin Luther King says, is the thief of time. We keep on deferring these things, pretending these things are not existing. They are going to catch up with us. And the economy will explode into some sort of violence. That is where I am right now. Really, I don't want to sit in now and say, the plan says this, the plan says this. Let me deal with the reality on the ground.
Yeah.
And as leaders running an economy, you have to be realistic and sometimes take the most painful decisions.
Yes.
We are still battling with the devaluation of our currency, and there's a likelihood again that we may devalue further. We need an update from the ministry. What is going on? That is the critical thing that we need to be having right now. What plans do you have to take us out of this crisis?
Yeah.
This is what we should be dealing with. This other thing is just a routine and an academic exercise. But let them debate it in Parliament, but the public out there on the ground is saying, the investors are saying, if I were government right now, I will defer this plan because it's not going to be implemented. It's not going to be implemented. You have a huge backlog to deal with. We had to defer on our side the project we had at NDP9 to deal with the economic crisis.
Yeah.
That's what we did. And currently, right now, I think government should defer this, but debating this. It's not going to be easy to implement it. It's like February, you had a budget, which we all were hopeful for. Has it been implemented, that budget that they passed in February this year? Has it been implemented?
Nope.
So now we are bringing another document. When you can't implement a budget that we have within the next 9 months, it's still not happening. We are facing the same challenges. If you can't implement just 1 year budget that we are having right now, and you come with this ambitious plan, what are we talking?
Yeah.
So can we be very practical? We need to come down together and advise each other and deal with the issues that are urgent, which is the liquidity situation. The investors out there are concerned. There is no investor who's going to come in there when he knows here that government is not going to pay. We need to restructure and cut down on huge expenditure. And also focus on those projects that we know these projects can assist with the liquidity situation, or those projects that immediately assist in the economic growth. Which are those projects?
Yeah.
We need to have targeted programs that assist us to grow the economy. But what's critical right now, deal with the liquidity situation. That is what we did in 2009, 2008. We had to deal with that situation immediately. So, sir, continue to debate this thing. I'm cheating myself. Let me stop there, because this is not a document. This is what Parliament should not be doing right.
Yeah.
It's just a routine exercise that they're doing, and they're not being fair with themselves. Yes. That's the situation that I see, sir. In my view, we could speak. I will not be fair to the listeners out there, because you are Melans and I'll make it. Now I say, defer this plan. Because of the realistic situations you are facing.
Yeah.
In other sectors, you even have declared, okay, let me ask you, in the health sector, we debate when there's a state of emergency declared. What are we discussing?
Yeah.
There's a state of emergency on health. What plan, does this plan take into consideration the realistic situation that is on the ground on health issues? You declare another state of emergency on other sectors as well. It's cut across.
Yeah.
So there's a need for government to retreat and say, hey, we are in a state of economic war here.
Yeah.
We have to do things not the conventional way and take bold decisions. So I rest my case. I don't want to debate this.
All right.
Because it's an unrealistic document which will not be achieved under the current situation. I don't even think Batonaba ready. Who is listening?
Yeah.
Members of Parliament maybe live somewhere in a different world.
Exactly. Yeah.
And I don't see constructive debates that assist government. I can't hear them. I'll give you an example. I don't even see, we are not being told where we come from, what's going to be happening. Are there any projects coming? Where is the money coming from? What's going to, we don't know. So, sir, because we have voted our leaders in power, they've got their term. I think we can give them respect and listen.
Yes.
Yes, and we're all listening and watching. That's all we can do.
Yes.
Can I rest my case?
Yes, let's hear what the Sennye has to continue with. Sennye, back to you.
Well, I like the forthrightness of Guma. Ba mari ke bone go ra gore kana ka nne ke tlhalosa gore dipalo di undermine credibility ya planning. Tota ke sone sa se buang gore it's unrealistic. Mme ke gatelle sengwe se na se bua gore kana the reality e re faceang gompieno must define how we move forward. Budget ya entire UDC. Minister of Finance was very clear. Gore priority ya government tshwanetse ya nna fiscal consolidation. Government a ikagetsa a lebile reality e ntsha ya gore tema ga ena go moga madi jaaka tswaetse. Jano yone priority ya fiscal consolidation ya be hela mo budgeteng. Ile go tswa ho hela ra be re spend tota o intse budget e lentse le gore go a spendiwa go tshwaetso go a spendiwa. Jaanong bothata jo bongwe ke jone jo ha re simololang teng gore tota we've got to deal with this reality ya ka re tshwanetse. Ya ka ke bua le wena le bareetsi ba go jana re Kgoroba. We have just got a sovereign credit rating downgrade from Moody's. from A3 to BAA1 with a negative outlook. And Reulejana Rewa with a negative outlook, which means the risk of a further downgrade is real. That's what it means, this negative outlook. Me haba re nela jana. Lengwe la mabaka ba tutumaditseng ke gore ba tshwengwa ke gore puso e struggle go adjust to the structural decline in the diamond industry. Mo economics ha go dirisiwa le go kolela structural decline. Kana go ra gore it's something very serious, something that could be permanent. Mo go ra gore le tshwanetse la adjust to this reality. Re paletswe go adjust to this reality. So go botlhokwa ra gore plan ya rona in reality ke di bona le re Guma 100% gore e ya gore tlela ka mabaka one a buileng male jaaka ke tlhalositse bothata ja me ke Guma ke gore e re go ntse ya ma reality ntse ya ka ntse ba Ministry of Finance ba project a di deficit plan ene le rhetoric ya puso general e go raya re madi a teng go ta spendiwa mo ke ka go neela di le tharo hela ya boraro ha o ga tse pedi tse ke di buileng ke ta di go gakolla gore ke dihe ne ke buile ka social wealth fund, sovereign wealth fund ra ga ke itse gore ra go capitalize yang re palwa ke go duela the obligations go ntse re sokola ra duela ka tshokolo ra go capitalize ya National Development Fund ra go capitalize ya gona le sengwe se tsokomadiwang thata sa National Health Insurance. One of those things that sound nice how bua ka tsona me ha o tsona mo go nneng real. Why is it you are talking about serious government expenditure, government paying insurance premiums for probably the majority of the population? It's not going to happen. Highly a universal access to quality health road. Can I refer to health insurance for the majority of the population because we are that poor as a people. How planning the infrastructure budget there 141 billion over the 5 years. It's a spending plan. It is divorced from the reality we are facing. It's divorced from the projections of the Ministry of Finance, which means, and that must scare all of us, which means the Ministry of Finance and state president ka ke a host planning commission ga ba bue dilo tse di tshwanang go ngwe re dile phoso e tona go tsa planning re ntsha ko finance re ba le ba mobilize madi ba le kwa ba ire policy ba le kwa ba ngwe bo ba dira planning ka gore tota planning e dirilweng ka NDP12 it's removed from the evidential basis. Ministry of Finance ba re ba pin. Research ni mo di projectioning hela re bua ka hard data. Re bonang ka economy ya rona. So re na le bothata jo ra ke tso I don't know whether we have buried our heads in the soil or we've buried our heads in the clouds. We could be fooling ourselves. NDP12 is far removed from reality.
Yeah. Sennye, for Motswana Okohai, can you simplify the implications of the downgrades?
baba kana ke matshwao melwang baba adimang ka Botswana ke matshwao a gore baba adimang baba ka ra adimang madi ba lebella le ba beeletsi ba lebella jaanong ha re downgrade ya ka re downgrade yana gora gore market ga o re jaje sente ra ketehalwa go se ka henyana kwa adima ebile ha ra adima re ka nna ra ithala re tirelwa ka gore ha ke gore le hoko le la risking ka le ba yang ka
we are high risk.
We are high risk. Risk profile ya rona has just shot up. The investor a le tsone di a gore le ba hela jalo gore Botswana now is a bigger risk. Ra gore le go attract investment yone re tlhoka mo go ka bokana go nna boketenyana re Guma is absolutely right. Ha re government o tshwanetse gore go simologong hela a ba kanye di finance tsa gagwe ba Ministry of Finance were absolutely right ka February last year ha ba re priority ya fiscal consolidation ga se a reng go spenda NDP12 e ba rata ja ka ikiti ignora the constraints se di faisang se ga di bone jaanong ra ke boela mo kganyeng ya go gore downgrade e raeng e ra gore go a go nna boketinyana gore ra dime go a gore turela gore ra dime go a go nna boketinyana gore ra taxe di investors o ntse re di tlhokang thata that's what the sovereign credit rating downgrade means. It's a summary measure of the investment profile ya lehasi. What it's communicating is that Botswana is less investable than it was maloba go A3. That's what it means. Essentially investment grade, yes, but it's inferior to what it was maloba go A3. Means le kana Botswana ha o bua ka gone gore o investable go le kae. Ha se gore go nne jwa bone bo credit rating hela ya ka ba dule ya le tse dingwe tse di le jwang jaaka gone gore a governmente o ka tshepagala go honora di contracts ba ntse ba di leba itholelo a ya gola ba ntse ba di leba as we speak we are in our second year of recession maybe le recovery eba finance by project time is going to be slow. Tiro tse di lebiwang yo tse tsotlhe di bua gore ra ketsagalwa ke go mobilize investment mme kana one NDP12 sengwe se se buang ke gore e ta finance investment program boketenyana ja yone boketela jo bonalang ja yone through innovative methods is dira gore amongst other things go diriswa madi a private sector ya ha sovereign credit rating ntse yana madi ao a go nna botitenyana go goroba ha go romenta a sokola go duela kgwedi le kgwedi di creditor go nna botitenyana gore madi ao a goroga ha di policy tsa go romenta di tshwenya ba kgwedi ke santse ke utlwa batho ba santse ba bua ka 4,000 ili minimum wage. They've got their heads buried in the sand or up there in the clouds. This economy cannot afford that. But most important, most critical, you are sending an absolutely bad message to business because you are saying you don't know what you are doing. Business can see this. But what business ko ba go jwa mo Botswana ba bua le ba go ba ko nte tota government na tshwantse gore a phagale gore go lebege jaaka ke number 1 o tlhaloganya sa dirang number 2 go lebege le gore government institutionally we internally consistent the policies of government they are internally consistent government ubua with one voice. We need clear and consistent messaging on investment, clear and consistent messaging to the private sector. Right now,
wait to say. Moyo. Hey, the Gumas. You were acting Minister of Finance or Deputy Minister of Finance, like you said, around 2008. And then, if I'm correct, the budgeting and the planning was done by Minister of Finance. I suppose I'm right.
Yes.
Now, this time around, the planning is done at the Office of the President. The budgeting is done at Minister of Finance. What's your comment on this? Is it a good thing? Or
my comment, it doesn't matter. There is one thing. When you talk about the executive, you're talking about presidency. All of us, we advise the president. Budget belongs to the president. Budget belongs to the office of the presidency. He is the one that then appoints his cabinet, restructure his ministries and ministers. That is his full responsibility. How he restructures his people to delegate so that he can deliver a message is neither here nor there. Because whatever the other one is doing on the other side, you still have to converge in one thing and advise the president. When you finish in cabinet, the resolution of cabinet says the cabinet resolves to advise. There is nothing like any minister does things independently of the presidency. So when the president consolidates certain things and he wants to have himself informed properly, and that is not the first one. These things were done. They started, do you remember, during Kama's days, we had Geico. That was, they were working, when we were doing NDP12, we were working together at the same time with Geico on the other side. It's just it's how you, both of you, frankly, work together. You should not really say equally. At the end, there is one decision maker, that is His Excellency.
Yeah, the reason why I'm asking you this is we have those who are doing the planning at OP projecting the economic growth at 6%, and the Minister of Finance projecting growth at 1.9%. Now, there's incoherency here. That's why.
Whatever document that is finalized, prepared, goes to cabinet. All right? Yeah. And in cabinet, everybody must sit in there, critique and scrutinize all these things. This is not about finance and OP. There is going to be a collective. That's a realistic situation of everybody, the ministries. There's a cabinet memo that has to circulate around, and members of parliament, of cabinet, all of them comment on this thing, and collectively they advise the president. So if there's a gap in there in the advisory section, then we have a problem.
Yeah.
So to me, whether it's ministry or not, eventually, all this document has to be discussed by the cabinet. And then collectively, all of them must then say, we agree that this is the way to go. So there is no one who's left behind who says, just take government as one. Cabinet advises the president.
The Gumas, ba bua 1.9, ba bangwe ba bua 6%. What does that say to investors and what does that say to Botswana?
Eventually, once they prepared a document called a budget or a national development plan, yeah, prove you like a cabinet, more. They are all responsible collectively. In actual fact, the finance should be able to pick this thing up and say, thank you very much. Why wonder? Uba say about it, put them as one.
Yeah.
Oscar Kevale Yola Hasuba, Ahuberikia.
Yeah.
When we were in cabinet during, which I don't think there's any change, when you do a briefing to His Excellency, the OP Kaha, the Minister of Finance Kaha, these are the key advisors of His Excellency on matters of finance. And whenever there is any briefing, the ministries, finance in anything who, I think at any point in time, can the coordinating point.
Yeah.
Yes. So, Bam Moho, Sukari, Hona Leba Ka Kobaya Kabari. Bam Moho, but Hala is one, and all of them are supposed to be advising His Excellency.
Yes.
And then eventually, there's only one person who takes a decision. I want to budget the Minister of Finance. Keep budget the Yaga government. I said you are His Excellency. The buck stops with one person. Only one. And he has delegated this responsibility.
Yes.
And all of them must collectively take responsibility.
Yes.
There shouldn't be anyone that says, I didn't come to America.
Haki re Kgoroba. Ke ya mutwa re Guma. Me ke a thobaela ga ke dumalane materialo ebile ke a thobaela. Kana he's talking structure, he's talking principles, he's talking about how things ought to work.
Yes.
Me, how labor reality on the ground. When the Ministry of Finance puts projections out there, in a formal macroeconomic, in a formal review in a formal overview of the macroeconomy, badi ba halebo ba dira di projections tsa bone ba gakolla go thwa ke institution e bidiwa Ministry of Finance. E ka tswa e bereka in the same government as state president and so on, but that's their view. Ba e beile mo tafoleng. Ha ba state president ba ira plan, bo ba taka di targets, and we must try to draw a distinction between the projection and the target. The projections they are based on a current trend. Tell di bona ke reality le bona gore ha le project forward le ra ere go ta diragala. The targets of course are slightly different. So re ka ba ha some leeway. My problem is gore the targets are 300% above the projection. Someone must explain, especially given the reality renale re Guma re dumalanang ka yona. Nthawe de ke batang go bua ke gore the reality about institutions is that they don't always agree and they don't always work harmoniously. Yes, ka dumalana gore at the end of the day a product ya go tswa e dumalanwe ke cabinet yotlhe. Ile yone e re tabo go te dumalana. Mme ga gore go dumalana mo ga bone. Go ra gore ba botlhe ba dumela mo go tseseho. The policy direction e tileng ka budget ya ntlha inaugural budget consistent with all the advice, domestic and foreign, governmente a hiwa. In a bua tsone tse nna le re Moyo di buang gore we've got to deal with the reality of the government's finances at this point in time. We've got to deal with them. The government has got to consolidate the fiscus. Maybe the path that government ultimately took, it was different. So le ha re ka present a united face outside, the fact remains for a critical advisor wa dissenta, and that's problematic. Gore go dumalanwe ga gore gore mongwe le mongwe wa dumalana necessarily. That's the concerns well I think gore go vote and so on and so on, but that's the official position. All government institutions are obliged to line behind it. Me a gore ba dumalana, and gone mo ka bo gone is very, very dangerous, because a critical institution like finance, e bona sengwe se ba bangwe ba sa se boneng, ba ba na le dithata ba sa se bone kana ba se ikgatholosang. And that for me is the problem, because it suggests policy discordance. Nkile ka bua khanyele re molutsi o leng policy advisor ya UDC ya ne ke te ya mo khupita ke mora ke re ke na le problem ya policy discordance within government. Ga o ka ke wa utlwa re ga o la kana o pehela ko Ministry of Finance a go ra re 4,000 pila o ga uwi ba ba dire ga o ka kwa mutwa mme o ta utlwa gongwe re mokgware ga ke tsora santse a bua ya le gona go ena a bua thata le ko leiba re parliamente wa Mahalape West re tshere o ta utlwa a e bua. Never the Ministry of Finance, because the economy that they see, that they are supposed to be managing, highly re ka legislate a minimum wa 4,000 pula. This one so boning rile ba ile go kopana le ba berekisi e re ba tshwanetse gore ba bua ka go duela 4,000 within the salary structure sa government. Bo ba re ba go batla di allowance gore ba neele ba ba kota se 4,000 pula. Gone mo hela go supa gore government ene ka se dile ne o pushang policy ya 4,000 ya mopalo ka ya khona go duela 4,000 within the salary structure sa gagwe o tshwentse a itietsa a ba itietsa le batho ka go tsamaya go batla di allowance ha di bidiwa bo housing and upkeep gore ano e be ke te government o duela 4,000 ko private sector ga bana luxury ya go itietsa yalo because ha di cost tsa bone di sa nyalane le letseno la bone ba collapse ba tswa. You can't move from 1.5 to 4,000 ka bo he ho yone jo bubiwang jo ya no tota hela the big issue here ke tlhaloganya di principle ya ka re Guma a di articulate. The big issue here is policy discordance within government, and that's poison for an economy. That's poison for an economy. So go botlhokwa gore go mo re go ele thoko re bone gore ba ba gakolwang bile ba na le bokgoni ja go gakolwa ba rediwa. Sengwe sa go helo seng ka tshwaelang ka sone ke gore go ntsha planning ko finance go ya go isa ko state president re create a planning commission. Go na le di consequences tsa gone go sa le go supagala from the onset.
Ke kopa o e tshware yalo le tshware yalo ke pateka ko ba go e ke tla just hold on. Re Sennye no sampa o bua ka di consequences.
Ra ke ne go na le tsamorago tsa go capacity ena ile teng ko finance ya go dira di plan go a bona la gore ga itse enne teng ko ministry ko planning commission ko state president go a bonala go tshimologo gone go di kgaoganyalo gone ga di ya plan ka ngwaga otlhe national development plan ra iphitlhela ke tsora ke NDP11 ene ya ta le itihela thata ya ta le itihela thata mme le ha o ka lebella yone re tshotseng wa e bala hela sentle o ta bona gore there's a huge gap in capacity between institution e dirang plan gompieno le tsena di ntse di dirwa ka morago nyana. Ga ke itse gore a go na le conflict between finance and planning commission. I can't say that, but the mehela dipalo tse di hitileng tse tsone tsena ke di bua tsa bo 529 billion US dollars cumulative investment in 11 years ga di ka tsa heta go finance finance la ile alert ga di ka tsa heta go yone ha ile gore ba ne ba e hule ba ithokomolositse or they slept.
Can I get something for clarity, sir?
Yes.
Sorry to budgeting and planning. Can I at the end how soon away? Santo only a budget extra to 1 year. How is the budget year recurrent prepared according to your understandings?
Kenna.
Any of you?
Okay. How is the recurrent budget prepared?
Yes.
Ha ke se ke bereke mo pusong. Gora gore ke tabe ke bua my understanding from basic principles sa budgeting.
You know why I'm asking? I'm just trying to so that we have an alignment. We are not speaking at cross purposes.
Okay.
So that the budget is similar to the ministry or from the planned period. And then from there, what the budget, the development. And the development normally it spreads over 3 or 4 years. Tsela ya go dira tsela France Town a makgobana go ya go tsa 4 years.
Moyo no sampo bua ka for example ka tsela ya Ramokgwebane.
Ya no mali ona o a kre re ka mo go tseng cash accounting. Re ta bore lebella gore madi a ta diriswa mo ngwageng ke bokae o bo allocate go no. The point I'm trying to say ke gore there is a coordinated approach by government when it comes to budgeting and planning. And then the ministry at state office coordinates these ideas, but the thinking and the process starts on the ground from the ministries themselves. So there is a coordinated approach between all ministries, including finance. And then finance, when it comes to monetizing everything, they are the key advisors. And at no point in time does His Excellency or the Office of His Excellency override them, because they are there all the time guiding. And these things are standard, they are accounting regulations, they are good day. So how much it's over because from where it starts, the political very from the experience having been in government for 15 years, I have never seen a mismatch, and I've never seen a situation where the finance, when it advises His Excellency, on a local area, he may ask questions for clarification and guidance, and then when he's advised properly, he says, let's move. However, maybe I think we are picking other things, stating we're telling Asika Hako Mentata Meswaka. Yeah, 4,000 weight. I agree there's been no bill that says minimum wage is 54,000. So, in a statement of intent by UDC there, but they have not yet implemented this one. Because House no Nauru say, and then that matter gets to the next. But I don't think if there's anything wrong in saying everything being equal, we will appreciate if people could be paid X. But that is an intention. It has not been implemented. If it has been, there would have been a bill in Parliament to deal with such. Nicaragua just to put certain things into perspective.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, back to you, Sennye.
Hey, re tloga re dikologa ha ke letse re ka dikologa teng kana se ke se buang se ga ke bui magatwe ke bua ka dipalo tse di mo tafoleng gore tsa finance tsa riana tsa plane tsa riana 500,000 to teng wa ditiro ke santse ke le ha ke hora ke re there is no serious economist who will tell you, and there are serious economists at finance who will tell you we are going to create 500,000 jobs in 5 years. Ke 4 one time we are going to have to create on average more than 100,000 now, 125,000 in fact, to compensate for the loss of 2025. Not when the economy project in the first 4 years, ya go gola ka 1.9%. It just doesn't happen. They do their modeling at finance. So ke santse ke ta difara le re Guma gore nya ke amuto go bua ka coordination and so on. I'm pretty familiar with the process, likely an outsider. Ke a itse gore di ministry dira di estimate tsa tsone me throughout. O ta bona gore mo go tswang go di ministry go tshimiwa go le kae in that process. Ha etsana go finance, because ga bo go ntse go lekiwa go aligna the finances, the capacity with the ambition that ministries and agencies and development agencies put forward. Jose dite nna se ke se halalang gompieno ke gore ekete dipalo tse di tswang ko finance le tse di tswang ka ska re ekete dipalo tse di tswang ko finance le tse ke di bona mo planning ga di nyalane gone mo go a tshosa on key policy issues where you'd expect the lead agency on the economy to be the one pronouncing itself. The Ministry of Finance is silent. It's not politics, it's what is happening. I've never heard Regaola Tari Regaduela 4,000. Yes, Rekare Molao Hawishote. Mekana 4,000 is hanging on the economy like the sword of Damocles. Not once, not one minister. We've heard it several times, even from the president. Gore Rashanete Raduela 4,000. I think it was only last week. I don't know how accurate the quote is. Bilia 4,000 pula eta. I don't know how accurate the quote was. He was quoted accurately. So how let tona ole tautona totally any permanent secretary tota how bua transcribe mo khalimo how bua o dira pronouncement you are talking policy baba go reeditseng ba itse gore this is a minister speaking, this is a president speaking. We don't hear the Minister of Finance saying these things. We don't hear officers from finance saying these things. How ka a senior officer in the Ministry of Finance quite early in the new dispensation, quite early. Ona thalosa le ha le tsa tsone tsa ditiro tota gore ka dituelo Khotari re leve
because I think we have spoken for more than an hour. Nagi Takir will sit for an hour. Then secondly, maybe we shouldn't digress too much. I don't want to be in a platform that is now bashing government.
But are we Ramoyo? Sennye ubua what's documented. So I don't know if what's documented is bashing government. There's
yeah, say Arya. I couldn't read your plan. 4,000 to 10 a hakaya. Can I not digress? Can debate a 4,000.
Well, 4,000 totes and a harrowing. There's parallel, lines between what the state president is saying in the plan and what the Minister of Finance is saying. 4,000 is an example, yeah. Baba ngoba bua 4,000. Minister of Finance, ha 4,000. There's no coherence between the different government departments. Like let us Sennye o tla ikarabela on that one.
Yeah,
let's indulge Guma rehete ka gore gone there's an element ya go digress. Mare hete re tswelle le dikgang tsena o di beile pele.
Ke tsene mo go ye nngwe ke botse gore Botswana has lately made some major decisions, or should we say the president has, including the acquisition of majority control in the BS. What is your take on this decision? Ramoyo.
Sometimes when you don't have full details of what is being discussed, it becomes very difficult for you to say the decision is right or wrong.
Okay.
So normally, when you hear the Nodibuiwa, one will assume that at some point the Minister of Energy will put a statement in Parliament, detailing such a decision. And then it is at that point in time that we are now having the details of what is being discussed and what government is planning. But when His Excellency is still discussing or thinking about certain things, I think it would be fair for us to wait until we get the details of it. And it should come in the form of a statement or a document in Parliament, where the minister will now be saying, this is the position of government. But as of now, the intent of what government intends doing and His Excellency making that pronouncement, we just take it as that pronouncement and we don't sit and critique it until we get the details of it tabled in Parliament. That this is where we are going, this is what government has decided.
Yes.
Because if you try and critique it, you may lose or agree or disagree. You may actually be denying yourself certain information that had you had it on the top, you would have thought the other way around.
Sennye, what's your comment on that one?
I think whether statement is to go home minister kana khasatswa re ka dumalana re ka se dumalane ka gore the basic considerations ga di tswe mo statement hela sa bobedi tautona ha dira announcement nna sa re ra seka ona bua tshwetso e tserwe ebile setile deadline gore by end of October di puisano di tshwanetse gore di be di concludiwe. That does not leave room for the minister or anyone else in government to say something to the contrary. Ka gore the highest authority in government ona bua gore tota this is the direction the government is taking. Me ke heta ho tota the issue in sele motafuleng e discussiwa ile tshwanelo gore e discussiwe di analysts di discuss ba tswana ba e discuss ba business ba e discuss the preponderance of expert opinion, this is not something that we should be doing now. Rebata equity. Gore go tshwara 51% o re mmata. Re tshwanetse ra reka 36% more shares. Tsa di BS, 36% more.
Yeah.
They will not cost less than 20 billion pula at the book value ya Anglo-American in beile mo go di BS ka February ngwaga one. The market value may be even higher. Le ha ka wela kota se ga 20 billion, you can be certain gore is a very significant level of risk. So potso ke gore madi ra tsaka. You can add this one on top of capitalizing the Sovereign Welfare Fund, capitalizing the NDF, financing the National Health Insurance. Now we are talking about taking investment risk as a government in the order of tens of billions of pula. Is this something that our government should be doing? That's even before we look at what we are buying.
Yeah.
We are trying to buy a firm, a global conglomerate in an industry that right now is characterized by high levels of risk and uncertainty. We are talking about the natural diamonds industry. Should we be doing that? So we are talking about government taking investment risk. Whatever amount of money we put in the BS, we could lose it. This is not a safe bet by any stretch of the imagination. So now from a fiscal point of view, from a risk point of view, this is something we should be doing. We don't have the capacity, the level of risk, both in terms of the amount of money we are talking about and the environment in which we'll be investing. There's also the matter of what is government going to do with majority control of DBS. That's going to help the company. There are not too many investors out there who want government as a partner. So, a majority stake, DBS. What are we going to do with that power? Rona, so, I think we should not seek more exposure to the BS as a country. I know there could be upsides. No doubt about it. But we are talking about a different level of risk altogether for a country in a very precarious fiscal position.
Yes.
Kgoroba,
Moyo.
when I'm a shareholder in an entity.
Before comment, Moyo, I wanted to ask you this because I've had many economic experts talking about government shouldn't involve itself in business. Generally, not necessarily this DBS thing or what. Government should facilitate an environment for business. So about government involvement in business generally. Yeah.
Yeah, I have got another engagement.
Yeah.
Please, if it can be my last, because but
that is fine.
So Negeri, when one intends to acquire equity extra from an existing entity into a shareholder, it may not necessarily mean an immediate outlay of money demanded by the other. Okay, you can negotiate how that particular payment gets to be made. I think that's number one. That could come in the form of you not taking the dividends that you're supposed to take over a period of X. When you're supposed to get that dividend you're supposed to get is converted towards your equity contribution. So that's why I'm saying when you have all the details, you can make an informed decision. Is this the right decision or not? And then I think also when you have a strategic commodity called diamond, and then it's the one that is assisting you to do your running of the economy. At some point in time, there's a need for you to have some element of control of it is an essential commodity. That is why we are protecting it. But sometimes if you don't have some element of control in the decision-making process, you end up finding yourself in a situation where we are at this point in time, where at some point you are being told you can't sell, you can't do this. Because when on a proper commodity is the backbone of an economy, and then you have got no control over it. It's something that is a little bit worrying for me, in my view. Yes, government must facilitate, as it has been doing business. But what are the other areas where it should be very, very stingy on it? Because Haisa Diri will say you have a problem. My dear Adiri, some budget is going to center around the revenues that you're going to be getting from the diamond while you're busy trying to diversify. But if you get to a stage where you are held ransom by your partners at some point in time, you could collapse and it could be a recipe for disaster. I'm thinking aloud because I don't have the facts. When I say it would be important for a statement to be brought to Parliament, which is the normal route, statement says it a detail what is being done, whatever the decision that His Excellency does, he does them on behalf of people, and it should always be assumed that he has the interests of the country at hand. He cannot just take a decision out of excitement. But having said that, let's get the details and see exactly what informs him. Because if some point in time we're always negative and think the other way around, we'll never go anywhere. Eventually, so I think let's wait and see the details of it. But let's just assume that it's done in good faith.
Nyami ko go twile the Gumas ka gore nte go go drop ke tla sala ke garela le re Obuseng. Thank you. Re Obuseng. Ke yo re Guma o laetse ne ke re mere garele ka gore ne re ise re goroge go go gareleng ga re ka ra tlogela hela ka gore o na le tse di mo patikang. ya no ne ku utlwa a le ka go tlhalosa yana gore purchase ya di-beers could probably be done in different ways. O buile ka o file example ka via dividend yaanong ke ipotsa gore kana mme dividend ke yone e tshwereng economy ya lehatshe la rona yaanong if for maybe some couple of years go raya gore dividend nke be re e tsenya mo fiscusing ya rona yaanong re duela sekoloto ga ke itse gore wa kgela gore mo go yone
like ya go simolola gone go ke ga go lebege senta ka gore o se tsa tsamaile mme nna ke ya go simolola gone go ke re government ga ana di-option tse di kalo le yone ya di-dividends tota realistically ga yo mo tafoleng ka gore as we speak ne re bolelwa ke minister wa health maabane gore ga re kgone go reka melemo because government o kolota 1 billion sa itse ra 1 billion ke yone ka re padisang go duela sekoloto sa yo ka re padisang go duela go reka melemo jaanong ga ene ya gore re ka reka ka di-dividends ga iyo sa bobedi ga se gore government o oketsa di-shares mo di-BS partner a go entse le Anglo-American is selling literally o batla dibara tse dingwe ko ntle ga Botswana so ha nna re reka 36% bangwe ba tshwanetse ba reke the balance of the 85% yo tshwerweng ke Anglo-American so Anglo-American wants out and you can't tell them o ba duela ka dividends when they want out they want their money out sa boraro ha ile gore tota is about control gore batla go irang ka ditamano tsa rona nka be re lebile Debswana I seng DBS Debswana ke yone e tshwereng ditamane tsa rona ha re ya go DBS re batla now control of a global conglomerate South Africa has an interest Namibia has an interest global investors institutional and so on they have an interest
Angola
this is a global conglomerate so tota this deal is complicated mo go makatsang ne ke batla go ela ke khoshnaha go discussa policy ya puso ga se go thasela ga se go thasela tota ene ke batlileng ka be ke bile ha re Guma le ha ke re nya kgang ga se go thasela ebile a ke batle gore Motswana o pehela a ikgwese mokgweleo wa gore o sireletsa puso puso ha re batla gore re berekele sente always as a matter of principle we must always treat it with a fair degree of suspicion that's how you deal with power go sena sepehela ke gore hela re tshwanetse ra itwetsa gore re botse dipotso tse di tseneletseng accountability ba tayalo yana ha ile gore re tanna re censor because we don't want to sound negative motho negative go tawa yo khalang hela without a basis I want to believe gore ha we ha ile gore go ka lejwa ile criticism nna ke tsa gore ke go assessa ha le go ka tswa ile criticism mme go le bua gore a mme batho ba ha gore ke go khala a ba khala from an informed point of view ba na le evidence na ra ga ituru ame a se go khala turu ame ke go nela opinion and I think that's what I'm doing on this transaction
go na le mo go teng constructive criticism
absolutely
I mean what you have been discussing here are facts which are there in documents
absolutely
and are statements that has been made publicly
absolutely
whether a document is there or as policy or not we know in other economies whereby a statement by the president just a mere statement without any policy document has shaken the stock market that's how important or critical a president's statement is
le rona hela gone harra se tautona se buang I'm not necessarily talking about President Boko.
Yeah.
Tautona hela. Yo rona hela gone. Se tautona se buang. Senale appearing on gore the investor ra di akanya ja.
Yeah.
Tautona masisi ha santsa bua le Debswana ka hana bua ka teng.
Yeah.
The then Maxar the then Rasa Leshando. Ona tlhalosa gore go ene kwa go maui. Ba goebi mo bojanaleng ba ne ba thobaela.
O ka toge modumonyana mo backgrounding mo.
Are ba ne ba thobaela. Ba goebi ba ne ba thobaela gore au. Me tautona ka bua yana mo eleng gore as we speak a lot of the incremental investment mo tourism ya tsone di components eno e ile go mo haseng a mang so tota go botlhokwa gore re appreciate gore ha minister a bua go rae ha tautona a bua go rae ha permanent secretary a bua go rae we are taking power here.
Yes.
So le bone ba ba itshwereng power ene ba tshwanetse ba itse gore ha ba bua go raeng so that ha ba bua dio tse di thothilweng nna ke tsere gore nna le re Guma gona ha nne re ka dumalana gore it was premature gore tautona isa buile le ha ile ba parlamente kana ba hehela e be setse re utwa di announcement tsenetse.
Yes.
Re le Batswana we must give that feedback to our president. Gore nya re batla totela gore dio tse o tang di bua in public di be di tsamaile through all the formal
di
thothilwe ra e be di tsamaile through the necessary decision making structures.
Yeah. Ka gore if go sa nna yalo rona we take the president word as policy like you said earlier on.
His is the most powerful word.
Yes.
In the country, on the land.
No, me ke lebogile re Sennye nte se ra itshotla re le nosi ka gore ba bangwe ba tsamaile.
Thank you.
Ke lebogetse nako ya gago. Enjoy your weekend.
Ke a lebogara.
Thank you very much.